From Lagos to Nairobi, the continent is transforming through innovation, demographics, and global trade. Africa, long considered home to some of the worst human disasters and poverty in the world, is now poised to become the next global economic powerhouse. But the road to success is paved with obstacles. Welcome to Africa, a continent bursting with energy, innovation, and untapped potential. Often overlooked on the world stage, Africa is quietly emerging as the next economic powerhouse. From the vibrant streets of Lagos to the burgeoning tech corridors of Nairobi, a new wave of entrepreneurship and investment is reshaping the continent's future. But what's driving this economic revolution? How are technology, demographics, and trade transforming African nations into global contenders? Today, we'll explore the indicators of growth, identify the countries leading this charge, and understand the challenges that lie ahead. Over the last 10 years, Africa's economy has grown at an impressive rate, averaging around 4 to 5% annually, a pace that outpaces many other developed regions. Countries like Ethiopia, Ghana, and the Ivory Coast have recorded tremendous growth, propelled by a mixture of resource exports, agricultural advancements, and manufacturing expansion. Ethiopia, sometimes referred to as Africa's miracle country, Ethiopia has experienced rapid growth, averaging about 9% annually over the past decade, driven by large-scale infrastructure projects like roads, railways, and manufacturing zones. The country is also investing heavily in textiles and agriculture. Rwanda, an exploding technical hub, turning around decades of some of the world's most brutal conflicts. Rwanda has become a model for stability and innovation. How did this once tumultuous country morph from violence to success? With a focus on technology and services, Rwanda has seen impressive growth rates, reaching around 8% per year. It's also pioneering mobile technology and digital agriculture. Boasting Africa's largest economy by gross domestic product, Nigeria's growth is fueled by its vast oil reserves, but also by a blossoming tech startup scene in Lagos. Nigeria is currently experiencing its own digital revolution, with innovations focused in fintech, e-commerce, and mobile banking, all positioning this large country to be a global player in future technology services. Rich in resources and with a stable governance, Ghana's economy is expanding thanks mainly to gold, cocoa, and more recently, oil. Its proactive approach to trade and investment makes it an important player in West Africa. These African countries are thriving thanks to proactive policies, strategic investments, and large youthful populations who are eager to play a part and make their mark in economic activities. Conversely, not all of Africa is experiencing the same success story. Countries like Zimbabwe, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo face significant economic challenges. Poverty here is some of the worst in the world. Previously a regional breadbasket, Zimbabwe's economy has faltered due to hyperinflation, political instability, and land reform issues, leaving many in poverty. Zimbabwe's once fertile lands, advantageous climate, and robust commercial agriculture under their white minority government produced surplus wheat, maize, and tobacco for export to other African nations. However, following the fast-track land reforms of 2000, agricultural productivity dramatically declined, diminishing Zimbabwe's role as a food exporter and leading to food insecurity throughout the country. Similarly, in Sudan, ongoing conflict and political upheaval have hampered economic recovery. Despite boasting oil reserves, the country's instability has kept it from reaching its potential. So what do we have? Once solely seen through the lens of crisis and conflict, Africa is now carving out a new identity for itself as a continent positioned to become a critical player in the changing global economy. The key factor driving Africa's change is its young people. A youthful, dynamic population that is eager to innovate is meeting a rapidly expanding digital landscape at the perfect time. Add to this ambitious infrastructure projects cropping up throughout the country, region by region, is transforming urban and rural areas alike, providing increased employment opportunities, driving up the economy, and availing new opportunities for younger generations filled with drive to make their mark in. Let's take a closer look at the tech revolution. Technology is no longer a distant aspiration. It is a reality transforming Africa at breakneck speed. Mobile phones have leapfrogged traditional landlines, with more than 450 million Africans now connected via the internet. In Kenya, M-Pesa revolutionized financial inclusion, enabling millions to access banking services with just a smartphone and a SIM card. M-Pesa is a revolutionary mobile money service in Kenya, launched by the mobile operator Safaricom in 2007, that allows users to send and receive money, pay bills, and access various other financial services using their mobile phones. Derived from M for mobile and Pesa, Swahili for money, it functions as a digital wallet system connected to a user's SIM card, enabling people, including those without traditional bank accounts, to conduct transactions through registered agents and a network of retail outlets. Watch a small trader in a rural village using mobile money to buy inventory, or a young coder in Lagos developing a fintech app. These are prime examples of how innovation is creating equitable opportunities for economic participation for even the most rural-based African. Startups are flourishing in health tech, agrotech, and e-commerce. Investment into African tech hubs hit record highs last year as young entrepreneurs see opportunities to solve local problems with global solutions. Companies like Flutterwave, Paystack, and Jumia are now household names. But the digital revolution isn't just creating jobs, it's transforming entire industries. It's empowering local entrepreneurs. And, significantly, it is attracting foreign investors eager to tap into Africa's digital economy. First, consider the scale. Over 1.4 billion people, a median age in many countries under 20, rapid urbanization. That combination, a huge young workforce and expanding cities, creates a rare economic engine, including consumers, entrepreneurs, and a labor pool for industry and services. Africa is growing at such a rate that its trajectory puts it among the fastest growing regions globally in recent projections, according to World Bank Chatham House. In Nairobi, coffee shops double as developer hangouts. Coding boot camps run workshops. Investors meet founders. Nairobi has become known as Silicon Savannah, while Lagos is being dubbed West Africa's startup hub. The energy is explosive and contagious. Funding is the stress test of Africa's economic potential. Venture capital came roaring into African startups in the late 2010s, then slowed globally. Between 2022 and 2024, venture capital deals in Africa fell sharply, slowing momentum for new startups in their early stages of development. Still, the underlying flow of deals and homegrown innovation remains strong, and development institutions and corporate investors are stepping in. The question is whether financing can reliably scale local champions into regional or global players. Venture capital deals in Africa fell approximately 52% between 2022 and 2024, according to reports from the International Financial Corporation. Much, if not most, of Africa's investors are foreign. International money is inconsistent along with the volatility of African nations. Trade is the next lever. The African Continental Free Trade Area, known by the acronym AFCFTA, seeks to knit markets together, lowering tariffs and simplifying cross-border trade. If implemented fully, intra-African trade could scale manufacturing, regional supply chains, and investment flows. Implementation is underway, but challenges remain. Infrastructure gaps, differing regulations, and logistics. Still, AFCFTA is the biggest trade experiment on the continent in decades. No economy can grow without reliable energy and infrastructure. Big projects like renewable grids, ports, and transmission lines are reshaping trade and growth possibilities. Mozambique's new energy projects, major hydro developments in parts of East and Central Africa, and massive solar rollouts throughout the continent are changing industrial feasibility with one caveat: they need to be delivered without unsustainable debt. So, which countries are doing well and why? To understand this, we look at a handful of standouts. According to the World Bank and IMF, Rwanda stands out due to governing reforms, digital ID systems, and a focus on services and logistics. Ethiopia is leading from their industrialization push and large infrastructure builds, even with political setbacks. Kenya is a leader through their financial technology, or fintech, mobile money ubiquity, and regional services. Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, and Ghana both enjoy robust commodity exports, plus growing services and manufacturing. And Nigeria is grabbing international investment attention with their enormous market size and startups, even while hampered by policy volatility and energy constraints. Kenya's story centers on mobile money and a thriving services ecosystem. M-Pesa fundamentally changed payments and credit for millions of Kenyans, and the ripple effects have fueled startups across industries such as lending, insurance, and logistics. Nairobi's cluster of incubators and universities provides both young, eager talent and a regional gateway to East Africa. Nigeria brings massive scale, over 200 million people with a booming youth entrepreneurship. But scale alone doesn't and cannot guarantee growth. Policy inconsistencies from governments flip-flopping, a volatile foreign exchange climate, energy shortfalls, and infrastructure gaps complicate the potential for investment and manufacturing. And yet, business persists. Despite setbacks and fluctuating obstacles, Lagos remains a magnet for venture capitalists. Fintech and e-commerce industries continue to innovate and pivot their targets to serve this massive, built-in domestic market. So, scale does have its advantages. Ethiopia and Rwanda took sharply different paths. Ethiopia pursued heavy state-led industrialization and big infrastructure, while Rwanda invested in regulatory clarity, ease of doing business, and tourism and logistics. Both face political and social constraints, but both illustrate that governance choices shape outcomes. However, not every country shares the gains. South Africa faces structural unemployment, low growth, and political uncertainty. Fragile states, parts of the Sahel, the DRC, Somalia, suffer conflict-driven instability that crushes investment and livelihoods. Commodity dependence also leaves countries vulnerable to volatile global prices and climate shocks. The human cost is real: food crises, displacement, and stalled progress. A young population can be a benefit or a liability. Youth are blessed with energy and cursed with lack of experience, impulsive decision-making, and general immaturity towards life's major setbacks and obstacles. Education, health, and job creation determine whether that youth bubble becomes an engine driving innovation or the new voice of social unrest. Countries that invest in schooling, vocational training, and digital skills are more likely to harvest the former, whereas in countries where those investments are absent or lagging, political pressure and migration tend to follow. Manufacturing's return to Africa depends on three things: lower trade costs, reliable power and logistics, and predictable rules. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, helps with the first, lowering trade costs. With free trade encouraged throughout the continent, flow of goods and commerce has room to grow and prosper. Infrastructure and governance will decide the rest. In the case of infrastructure, trusts in location investment depends heavily on the third, the security of governance. If firms can regionalize supply chains, like assembling electronics in Ghana to serve West Africa, then Africa moves from a commodity exporter, as it has been historically known, to a producer of value-added goods. Economic independence can then grow from such a position, which leads to something of even greater value: national confidence. Ideally, this platform can support greater stability, and the cycle can repeat towards a strong global financial and economic force. But all of this rests on a fragile balance. Finance remains a bottleneck, however. Local equity markets are shallow. Access is not available to everyone. Furthermore, currency volatility, a long-standing problem, scares off long-term foreign capital. Investors seek stability, which Africa, as a continent, has yet to provide. Hence, banks are cautious. Lending is tight and scrutinized. International development finance institutions such as the IFC, World Bank, AFDB, plus diaspora capital and sovereign investors are helping fill the gap. But is it enough to make Africa a good bet? Scaling domestic capital markets will be vital to achieve sustained industrialization throughout the region. And what about climate change, which is affecting every region? Climate change is an immediate growth threat. Droughts, floods, and shifting seasons hit agriculture consistently and directly affects the livelihood of millions. How do Africans remain steadfast in their own economic goals amidst issues like food security, as it sends shockwaves through economies? Investment in climate-smart agriculture, water systems, and resilient infrastructure is not optional. It's central to any growth story, and it is costly. Investors, venture capitalists, and companies must all consider the cost expected to defray economic hits from defending against climate-created catastrophes and setbacks. Foreign investors approach the issue of investing in African projects from their own independent lenses. China, Europe, and the US all engage Africa differently, whether it be infrastructure deals, potential trade partnerships, or targeted development programs. Each foreign investor brings capital and markets, but they also bring their own geopolitics. African countries are increasingly negotiating from a position of choice. In a sense, they hold the cards. Africans can diversify partners or mix and match from various regions of interest. They can demand value-added investment, seeking add-ons for what they, African companies, can provide. And African principals can prioritize sustainable, inclusive projects to foster their nation's best interests. You might say Africans are in the driver's seat. Across the continent, entrepreneurs are solving local problems with local solutions. For example, in Rwanda, drones deliver medical supplies. Elsewhere, solar mini-grids are being purchased and used to power shops, cutting the umbilical cord from high-priced external power conglomerates. Startups are using satellite data to help farmers. These are small but scalable wins, practical innovations that ultimately support broad economic transformation. So what decides whether Africa becomes a powerhouse? It comes down to three tests. 1. Jobs at scale, translating growth into broad-based employment. 2. Finance and markets, building local capital markets and consistent investment. And 3. Institutions and stability, governance, rule of law, and policies that favor inclusive growth. Get those three factors right, and the continent could unlock decades of growth. Fail, and potential remains unrealized. The stakes are profound, not just for Africans, but for the global economy.